This afternoon from TD Ameritrade Park, the College World Series continues. The Virginia Cavaliers, one win away from a return trip to the Championship Series. Meanwhile, their opponent this afternoon, they need a victory to stave off elimination. The Florida Gators going up against the Virginia Cavaliers. Kevin O'Sullivan trying to keep his season alive. Ripped to left field. It's gone, and Vanderbilt has the lead. Vandy's victorious. They win the 2014 College World Series. And we welcome you to ESPN's coverage of the NCAA College World Series presented by Capital One. And this afternoon from TD Ameritrade Park, it's the Florida Gators and the Virginia Cavaliers as they meet for the second time. Teams getting ready for baseball, and we give you a check of the brackets so far. We are down to 4 teams here in Omaha. Miami, Arkansas, LSU, Cal State Fullerton, they have all been eliminated tonight. TCU needs a win to continue their season. They'll go up against Vanderbilt. Same story today for Florida as the Gators and the Cavs get together. Hi, folks. Welcome into the broadcast booth. John Sciambi alongside former USC All-America Aaron Boone. All right, so these two teams getting together, the Florida Gators, they boast big-time offense, and we have seen it here in Omaha with the exception of one game. That was against Virginia. Yeah, arguably the best offense in the College World Series belongs to the Florida Gators, and they've really done it the entire NCAA tournament. But here at the College World Series, we've seen them score 25 runs in only 3 ball games. And you want power? Well, we got the power in their last game against in-state rival Miami with 4 home runs, which was certainly the most ever hit in a ball game here at TD Ameritrade Park. Nathan Kirby's going to have his work cut out for him against this Gator offense. Yeah, Nathan Kirby, one of the questions here today, Russ, the big-time layoff, he's been injured, so what can you expect from him here? Well, it's a great unknown. It's been 9 weeks since Nathan Kirby pitched in a ball game. He's dealing with a lat issue, but he's good to go physically. They're hoping to get maybe 40, 50 pitches out of him today. And when he's right, he's a first-round talent. Picked in the first round, the 40th overall pick. It's a big fastball, at times up in the mid-90s, and a wipeout slider. It's that slider that makes him a strikeout artist. Will he have command of that today? That's the great unknown. Been about 9 weeks since he has pitched last. For more on Mr. Kirby, we go downstairs, and here's Kaylee Hartung.
Well, today's the day for Nathan Kirby's return because we're here. That's how UVA's pitching coach Carl Kuhn described the decision to start him today to me. Now, Kirby was cleared to play in the Super Regional, but Virginia was able to get it done without him. They used that opportunity to continue to build him up. They've got him up to 55 or 60 pitches in inter-squad scrimmages, but they don't know what that translates to today because you don't know how the adrenaline and the energy of a mound here in TD Ameritrade could affect him. Now, they say they're not trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat today. Kirby is a first-team All-American. They just hope after 9 weeks off, he remembers how to ride the bike.
Okay, indeed, Brian O'Connor, 12th season at Virginia, 12 straight NCAA tournament appearances. The Omaha guy who played his college baseball at Creighton puts together this lineup, and it is presented by Capital One. Yeah, we're going to highlight Daniel Pinero in the 2-hole. He's been outstanding in this College World Series. We've seen a number of great shortstops at this College World Series. 4 for 7 so far, and 3 big stolen bases that really impacted victories for Virginia. He's also taken the extra base, running the bases aggressively. All right, on the hill today for the Gators is the 6'2 sophomore from Minnesota, Logan Shore. Fastball, changeup, slider. The changeup is certainly his best pitch. He is a guy that will work both sides of the plate. As you can see, a command guy. Outstanding record in earned run average and 80 strikeouts to just 22 walks on the years. Like we said, a strike thrower. That changeup has been his best pitch, and he has been dominant in the NCAA tournament. A 3-0 record with an ERA just over 1 in the tourney. So Shore getting to start, and he'll deal with the freshman Adam Hazley to get it going. The Gators and the Cavaliers, Florida needs a win to continue their season. And away we go. And that's towards the hole. Martin gloves, long throw, and that won't be in time. First pitch and an infield single. Hazley was 0 for 7 at the College World Series going into that at bat.
Well, you love the aggressiveness, knowing that Logan Shore is a strike thrower, looking to get ahead, just kind of shoots that ball the other way. No chance for Martin to make a play on the speedy Hazley.
So immediately a man aboard, and now it's Daniel Pinheiro. Booney, one of the things that was interesting when we saw Virginia early in this tournament, they ran a lot against Arkansas, and that this season really hasn't been a signature of Brian O'Connor's team. And now a bunt out in front of the plate, picked up there by Rivera, and Pinheiro's out.
Pinheiro continues to execute. You talk about that running game not really being there. 3 of Pinheiro's 9 stolen bases have come here at the College World Series. Asked to lay down a bunt, executes, and a runner now in scoring position for the Cavaliers.
So 1 down, a man at second, and here is Matt Thaiss. So Brian O'Connor, who like the stolen base, he didn't bunt a ton this year. Sack bunts declined for Virginia this season, but he elects to use it in inning number 1.
Well, and normally you wouldn't see that from Virginia in that spot, but it just goes to show you, I think they would really love to get Nathan Kirby an early lead. Debatable whether that's the best way to go about it, but I think they'd like Kirby to take the mound with a lead.
Thaiss over top of that, looked like the changeup.
Yeah, it was the first look at the straight change. That is his best pitch. And one of the reasons that he's been so successful this season as a sophomore.
Hazley at second. And that one back up the middle, past Martin, base hit. Hazley around third. Reed comes up throwing and safe at the plate. And just like that, Virginia jumps out. It is 1-0 Cavaliers.
Well, Matt Thaiss continues his hot hitting in the tournament. 423 with 6 RBI in the NCAA tournament, and it's just a tailing fastball. They want to get it to the inside corner. It leaks back over the heart of the plate, and Thaiss does a great job of just pounding that ball back through the middle. Nice effort out there in center field by Buddy Reed, who comes up and makes a good throw to home plate, but Hazley just a little too fast, slides in ahead.
You know, it's interesting. In this tournament, we have, what, 8 first-round picks, 7 first-round picks, and 4 of the top 8. And for all the talent in terms of draft-eligible guys, there are a lot of really good-looking freshmen and sophomores here also. Well, I mean, you're talking about a guy like Thaiss, Collins at Miami, obviously Schwartz as well at Florida.
Yeah, and like, I mean, this Florida team's full of a lot of good underclassmen that aren't draft-eligible yet. And you know what? There's a chance we're going to see a lot of these guys that you've just mentioned again at this College World Series a year from now.
Well, here's the senior Kenny Towns. And foul off first, Alonso. 2 away. So Virginia with a run in. And Shore now with a man at first will go to work against Pavin Smith. I know you like this guy's swing, and he's a youngster.
I do. He's one of those smooth swingers. He's been good in the tournament as well, and a outstanding freshman campaign hitting in the middle of this Cavalier lineup.
Explain it what you like. I mean, I was down there with you. I know how much you just enjoy watching the game, but his first round of BP, he hops into the cage, takes his swing, and you turn to me and you say, oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's just a real natural, simple swing. There's not a lot of moving parts, yet the ball still jumps off his bat. You can tell he's going to probably eventually come into some pretty good power. There's just a smoothness and easiness to which he swings. Pretty good knowledge of the strike zone. Not a guy that strikes out a lot.
Smith, a big recruit. And the freshman hitting in that 5 spot, lifts that one left field. Bader there settles under it, and that's the inning. But the Cavaliers on a Matt Thaiss RBI single have given Nathan Kirby a 1-0 lead. Gators will come up to hit in the bottom of the first. Back here at TD Ameritrade, it's Virginia and Florida. It's an elimination game for the Gators. Meanwhile, for Virginia, a win, and they're back in the championship series. Cavs up 1-0. Here is Kevin O'Sullivan's lineup, brought to you by Capital One. They had this under lock and key for a while.
Yeah, this is a big-time lineup, though. And J.J. Schwartz, the freshman, anchors it in the middle at the DH spot today. He'll also could see him catch again in this College World Series. But the tournament, he's been phenomenal. A 500 average, 4 homers, and 19 runs batted in 50 NCAA tournament at bats. This guy is a special one to watch in the middle.
And Florida will go up against Nathan Kirby. We talked about him in the open, a junior from Midlothian, Virginia. Brewers made him a first-round pick. What do you anticipate today?
Man, I don't know, and it's going to be fun to watch him early to see how comfortable he is. As we said, it's been 9 weeks since he's pitched competitively, but it's big-time talent. He's a first-round draft pick. They're hoping, I think, somewhere in the 50-60 pitch range if it goes well. And along with a good fastball, it's a wipeout slider in the pitch that makes him very dynamic on the mound from the left side.
Kaylee Hartung touched on the idea. He really was ready to go 2 weeks ago, but they didn't need him, and they basically on the side have been just trying to get it a little more sharp, a little more crisp, and we'll see how it goes today. Harrison Bader now, the New York kid who led off with a homer against Miami on Wednesday.
And Florida, you know, I'm sure is aware that this is Kirby's first time out in 9 weeks, so understanding he's probably on some type of pitch count. So it'll be interesting to see their strategy if they try and, you know, work deeper counts to potentially, you know, try to get him out of there a little earlier and test the depth of the Virginia bullpen.
And Kirby delivers ball 1 to Bader. 3 homers in the NCAA tournament, including that leadoff jack the other night, and he stung it out there just to the left of the batter's eye.
And look where Bader is on that inside line on top of the plate, and that looked like a take all the way. And now I could see 2-0 count. Probably at this point, Bader taking a strike, just forcing Kirby to see how comfortable he can get.
Nathan Kirby, the last time he started, you mentioned he has the lat strain. It was April 17th, went 3 innings, no runs, 2 hits against the Hurricanes. It generates the pop-up here. Clement to the right of second.
Well, Boog, there's a good look at the arm of Nathan Kirby there. You're talking about Harrison Bader, a guy that's done some damage, a guy with big pop. He falls behind and really just challenges him with 2 fastballs. That fastball gets on Bader a little bit, in on the fist, so it's just a little bit. Good life on that fastball. Big first out for Kirby.
And there are those numbers from last year against Ole Miss. Brilliant. Kind of melted down in that start in the decisive game against Vandy. Those 5 big walks. This is Richie Martin.
Well, that's another thing to watch with Kirby, because, you know, you want to have a bad memory as a baseball player, as a pitcher, but the last time he was out on this mound, it did not go very well, especially from a command standpoint. So to have him bounce back from a 2-0 count, good early sign.
And there's a strike. Perry Costello is our plate umpire. So here's Richie Martin. See, the 20th overall pick in the draft. He was the youngest draft eligible junior. And he can really pick it defensively.
How about showing some pop the other night in that 4-homer game for the Florida Gators? Richie Martin went the opposite field. Really a no-doubter into the bullpen out there in right field. just 6 homers on the year, but I think there's power potential in there.
What's the most homers you hit in a college season?
6. Junior year, hit 6.
It's funny how it works, isn't it? I mean, you hit 30 in a big league season, did you
No.
not? Short of it by how many?
26.
26, okay. Talked about the power the opposite way.
And this is one of the things you got to like, because I think the feeling is that there is some power potential in there. He just jumped on a fastball up and out over the plate and rode it out to right field. And even though the homers are up, opposite field homers have been few and far between here at TD Ameritrade.
Good stuff back there by Theis. And as well, one of the things that played in the other night, the wind. Today it is blowing in. I think it'll be a little tougher to juice one out. Certainly tougher to juice one out the other way. But the hitting conditions on Wednesday night were ideal.
Ideal.
Full count.
So filled up on Martin. That pitch count's going to be big today for the lefty Nathan Kirby. First start in 9 weeks. This would be the 8th pitch of the at-bat. Kirby back with a fastball. And that's ball 4. So now Kirby will work out of the stretch for the first time. He's been handed a 1-0 lead here in the early going. This is an elimination game for Florida for Brian O'Connor, I beg your pardon, trying to pick up a win and get back to the championship series. Kevin O'Sullivan, his team got to the championship series in 2011. And if they win, then there will be an elimination game between these two teams. And we'll wait and see how it plays out. And now it's Josh Tobias, outstanding defensive third baseman, switch hitter. Pretty clear it's tough for Kirby right now to consistently hit his spots.
Yeah, the stuff looks good. Now Richie Martin was able to lay off the first couple sliders he's thrown out of the zone. So will he be able to get some chases with that pitch? But there's good life on the fastball if he could command it in the strike zone.
Ripped, but that one curling foul.
It was interesting on that pitch. Saw Matt Theis kind of pounding the glove, or pounding the ground, excuse me, with his glove, wanting that pitch down. That was an off-speed pitch up and out over the plate. Tobias just a little bit out in front, but Theis will be very communicative with Kirby on the mound.
Theis just a sophomore. Martin back in. Richie Martin on the season with 20 steals, caught 7 times. The Gators, though, do not have a stolen base here in Omaha.
And a lot of that has to do with they've been pounding team. Well, certainly pounding Miami.
Yep.
And then Waddell for Virginia kept them off the bases. So
Virginia trying to get back to that championship series. And I mean, from a talent standpoint, this young man on the mound is one of the best in the nation. We'll try and shake off some rust here today. Long run McCarthy, and he runs out of room.
And what he's showing you here with Richie Martin on first base is not a great move over to first base, but very efficient going home, quick to the plate. So it will be difficult for Richie Martin, who, if he does take off, will have to be a first pitch scenario if he's going to have success stealing the base.
And they got him picked off. Throw down a second, tag, and see you later. Well, Martin decided to go first move, and for Kirby, the move was to first. And credit Pavin Smith for firing a strike down there to second.
Yeah, good job. And you see how quick Kirby. It's not a great move, but it's real quick. Pavin Smith does a good job of just getting a good throwing lane and throwing a strike down to Pinero, and Martin clearly out. But that's probably as quick as Kirby is. If you're going to steal a base, it's going to have to be first move. So it's going to be a guessing game for Florida in running against Kirby.
Left side. And Pinero on the grass. The shortstop pulls it down, and Kirby able to pitch around the walk. End of one, and Virginia leads.
The NCAA College World Series is presented by Quicksilver from Capital One. Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back every purchase, every day. And in part by Lexus and their pursuit of perfection. And Northwestern Mutual. You and Northwestern Mutual, stronger together.
Well, the power's been on display at TD Ameritrade. Longest home run ever hit in the College World Series at this park. That young man, Peter Alonso, and offense is up, home runs are up. And the Gators put on a power display the other night. Reed and Bader and Martin and Alonso all hitting home runs. Robbie Coleman, the DH now. It'll be Coleman, then McCarthy, and then Doherty. Virginia leading on a Theis RBI single. Logan Shore getting the start, and he started their first game. That was against Miami. Out there towards center, Reed making the call and the grab. So one up and one down. And the batter will be Joe McCarthy. McCarthy's, you look at the narrative of the season in terms of Virginia, and one of the big stories, injuries. Now, they lost this guy for, close to 11 weeks with back surgery. Still ended up being a fifth-round pick. But he's got 2 home runs on the season, and both of them are in the NCAAs, including one in their opener against Arkansas. Left field and shallow. Bader, it's knocking it down. The wind is, and eventually Bader able to make the grab 2 away.
Yeah, I think a little longer run than Bader anticipated. In his first move, he kind of started back to left center, so I had to kind of get on his horse there, and goes into the slide just simply to make sure he secures this catch. Good recovery out there by Bader.
And now time called. Now 2 outs, nobody on. What is this conversation?
I don't know.
Stay tuned with us all afternoon long for more analysis from Aaron Boone. No, I'm with you.
We've seen Kevin McCullen do that not only in this College World Series, but last year in the College World Series. We've seen him do it in big spots and in spots like this where it's 2 outs and nobody on. So maybe just, hey, are we going to take a pitch here? Are you going to try and take a strike just so he doesn't have too clean of an inning? perhaps.
And ball 1 to Doherty. So the Maryland native who starts in left field pitches as well. In fact, didn't hit his first 2 years in the program, and after the end of last year went to Brian O'Connor and said, I'd like to give it a shot, and they gave him an opportunity in the fall, and here he is, starting left fielder in the College World Series. We've touched on the idea. It does feel as though Brian O'Connor and just Virginia overall a little looser, a little more relaxed this go around.
Yeah, I think all they've been through from an adversity standpoint this year. Early in the season, got to #1 in the nation with a great start. Then some injuries.
Well, I think that's what they were looking for, a walk.
Well, I think initially it was probably the strategy of, okay, 2 fairly quick outs here. Maybe let's at least see a pitch, and then it maybe turned into, all right, we're going to take a strike, and then it became a take all the way. But I think, you know, Virginia's been through so much to get a 3 seed in a regional, go through that, and then win the super regional. I think Brian O'Connor's just, I think, just really appreciative of what this team has been through and where they are now.
You see kind of the seesaw of the season for them. And they came in with massive expectations, and then eventually they're going into their final conference weekend of the season against North Carolina, needing a series victory just to get into the ACC tournament. Brian O'Connor said, we had more meetings as a team and with individuals than I have ever had here.
Well, I think it's a testament to Brian O'Connor and the program he's now built at Virginia. 4 College World Series appearances now in the last 12 years, and just
bunt popped in the air, and Shore makes the grab. That is that. Midway in the second, and Virginia on top. We'll get a look at prize freshman J.J. Schwartz coming up.
No matter the sport, in Gainesville, the goal is to win it all. With 4 College World Series appearances this decade, the Florida baseball team has been knocking on the door behind an offense that's mashed its way to Omaha. As a team, they stand ready to chomp their way back to a championship.
Well, thanks to Kevin Costner for being part of our College World Series broadcast, narrating a number of our in-bumps, some of the music as well. The Gators, 9th College World Series appearance. Kevin O'Sullivan has put together a pretty amazing program. This is his 4th College World Series appearance. Let's go downstairs for more on the Gators. Here's Kaylee.
Well, guys, throughout the time in Omaha, the Florida Gators have been battling a bit of a virus. Caught 5 guys on the team, and Alonso, who's on deck now, he was questionable for that to play. But if you walk through their dugout right now, you might want to duck for fear of getting sprayed with disinfectant in the face. While they think the virus has run its course, they've got everybody on preventative meds, plenty of hand sanitizer, and that disinfectant all over the dugout.
He came out of the game the other night, and I didn't realize it. Yeah, there's the hand sanitizer. But he came out of the game the other night. He was lifted for a pinch runner, and as he gets to the dugout, instead of getting a high five, somebody sprayed him. And I didn't know what was happening. And then guys are kind of like, instead of high-fiving him, kind of, you know, going elbows on him, and everybody's scared to touch him. But they've had a number of guys have been dealing with that, as Kaylee said. It didn't affect him in the power department, obviously, because he hit a ball some 420 feet out there to center field. Ball with 2 strikes on the freshman J.J. Schwartz.
1-2.
His sister Taylor winning the national title with Florida a couple weeks ago. Towards third, but Towns was playing towards the line. They had 1 up, 1 down.
Well, that alignment as you touched on, Towns kind of hugging the line. A steady diet of changeups right there to Schwartz, who waited back pretty well on that one and hit it sharply. But Kirby has gone to the changeup a lot so far this afternoon. A pitch he's got a pretty good feel for the first 4 hitters.
So here's Alonso. So we mentioned that these two teams got together and Virginia shut out Florida 1-0. The Gators had only 2 hits. And Alonso actually had one of them. Late there.
You know, he's thrown enough changeups to plant it in the Gators hitters' minds, and now we continue to see good life on that fastball. That 92 down the middle, right by him.
Too far.
You could hear Perry Costello say
Really
too
good
far.
run.
Yeah, trying to go with that changeup again to the outside. I think just off the edge of there. We'll see now if he's ahead in the count, if at some point he tries to go to that wipeout slider that when he's right is a chase
About
pitch
2
for
strikes.
him and a put away pitch for him.
You have it. You have it. Yes, sir. Thank you.
So 1 down. Nathan Kirby making the start here today. Obviously not an elimination game. Look, he was going to pitch in the College World Series. They weren't sure when. You'd have to say it's worked out about as perfectly as possible as it relates to getting Nathan Kirby into a game. They didn't want to have him pitch out of the pen in a high leverage spot. They wanted to get him in a spot where there wasn't a ton of pressure.
And how perfect is this? You have the upside of sending Nathan Kirby out there, which is, you know, high-end potential result without your back necessarily against the wall at this point, with Florida having to beat you twice. So, yeah, this is probably the perfect spot for him. And so far, Brian O'Connor, just a little sigh of relief that
Good spot.
he's been pretty effective so far. You know, it was a great unknown for Brian O'Connor, and you know, so far he fell behind one guy, but battled back into the count. Has had good stuff so far.
Kirby, who struck out 75 and 59 1/3 this year, and he gets a strikeout there, his first of the day. 2 down.
Another fastball. They just really challenge Alonso on the inside part of the plate, but again, he's shown enough command with the secondary pitch, albeit the changeup today, to have the respect of the Florida hitters. And there's just a fastball blown right by a good fastball hitter.
The one thing I feel like we've seen so far, and that's an example, but in fastball counts, he's been able to throw some fastballs past, or at least get guys late on fastballs.
Routinely through these first 5 hitters.
And there's a strike to Buddy Reed. Reed hitting out of the 6th spot, their center fielder, a switch hitter. He's a little better from the other side. Homered from the left side the other night. You look at the different tools. You have some guys with some power here, some power arms, some good defenders. And then there's the category of guys who can run. There are some guys who can really fly here, and Reed would be in that camp.
Yeah, it feels much more so than even last year that there's a lot of speed throughout most of the teams here, and a lot of high-end defenders, especially in the middle of the diamond. Buddy Reed, one of those outstanding defensive center fielders in this College World Series.
Chop to the right side. Clement collects, throws him out, and Kirby gets a 1-2-3. We're at the end of 2 here at TD Ameritrade, and the Cavaliers lead. Back here, TD Ameritrade, John Sciambi, Aaron Boone, Kaylee Hartung. As the College World Series continues, down to 4. Florida and Virginia. UVA with a win advances to the championship series. And the same story for Vanderbilt tonight. Vandy and TCU. And, you know, the Gator just leaning on the sax and more cowbell. I got a fever. And the only prescription.
Wasn't he? I think he was playing in the U.S. Open yesterday. Doubling here is on the cowbell at the College World Series.
Everybody ready?
I think he shot an 81.
Oh, yeah.
Little slider for a strike from Logan Shore.
Ball one.
On a bounce, smothered by Tobias. High throw and a nice stretch over there by Alonso. The Tobias, one error the entire season, and on the short hop was able to grab that on the backhand.
Man, what a good player. We've seen so many good plays in this College World Series from Tobias. I like how he works the backhand forward because he realized that's how he could get a shortstop. If he goes just directly side to side, it's more of an in-between hop. And then the good stretch over there from Alonso using all of that 6'5" frame to pull that one down. But a big play down there by Tobias.
How tough is it as a third baseman with a lefty up there and a little bit of that side spin working at you?
Yeah, absolutely. More when it's right at you. But, I mean, when you're into your dive, you understand and you almost have a better look at it. But I really like how he worked his hand through that short hop.
Martin comes in, steadies, and fires a strike to first. So 2 up, 2 down. Virginia leads on a first inning RBI single from Matt Theis. As he comes up to hit. Coming into this one in the NCAA tournament, sees 4 out of 8 in the College World Series, but coming in 423 with a 531 on base in the regional, the supers, and here in Omaha combined. I think we have a slight moth problem there, Aaron. If you look to the upper left part of your screen, yeah, get him off there. That is ripped right field. Larson back and makes the catch. Well, you hit that on the button. That was below moth level. 1-0 our score. We're midway in the third. Well, here in Omaha, we have seen some spectacular defense. The outfielders, the infielders delivering web gems night in and night out. And even with the arm, that play right there, the throw to the plate as Jones napped Foster, was a huge play in that TCU LSU game. Richie Martin with that one, and then the other night, maybe the best of them all, Alex Bregman, the first-round pick, spinning, throwing, and turning a spectacular play in right there. All right, for more of our College World Series coverage, including interactive brackets and highlights, go to ncaa.com. And Josh Tobias, just one error and turned in a whole handful of web gems this season. For the Gators here in the third, it'll be Rivera, Guthrie, and Larson. 1-0 game. And we told you for Brian O'Connor, the hope is 50 to 60 pitches for Nathan Kirby.
All right, let's go.
You know, the interesting thing, though, will be to see if he's cruising through another couple innings here and he's at 56. I would think Virginia could push it a little bit if it's smooth sailing like it has been so far. And I think that's even the unknown for Brian O'Connor.
The other way, gobbled up by Smith. Kirby gets there. The first inning, Kirby fell behind every hitter 1-0. And in the second inning, he got ahead of everybody 0-2. And now, when you look at pitches per at bat, obviously Florida's trying to make him work, but you make it out on the bases, and now he's pounding the zone a little better. And he'll deal with Dalton Guthrie. And there's a strike.
And he really doesn't even have a slider yet. It's been fastball, changeup, but the changeup's been a great pitch for him. He's thrown it at any count, and I think it's added, at least from a perception standpoint, to the life of the fastball to these Florida Gator hitters. Because whether he's been ahead or behind, the fastball has been a little better, I think, than Florida's anticipating.
Towards third, Towns knocks it down. It spills into foul territory, and that'll be a single for Dalton Guthrie.
Well, Towns shows pretty good range on this ball as it's right on the line, kind of jumps back. And actually, I think that little hop back to the inside actually probably caused him to catch it off the heel. I think Towns had it timed up down there to go in the web, and that little subtle, call it a bad hop, whatever, bounced it back, forced that thing into the heel of the glove, and didn't give Towns a chance to complete what would have been a great play.
So now
Good, Ryan? All right.
it's Ryan Larson. Larson getting the start in right field. Kirby pumps it a strike. The other night, he came on as a defensive replacement for Jeremy Vasquez, and that was kind of the holdup. Gators didn't have their lineup in until like 50 minutes before first pitch. Guthrie 6 steals, caught 6 times. And as Aaron documented, Kirby is a guy whose move is not exceptional, but he's quick to the plate. It's an elimination game for the Gators. They must win to keep their season alive. Meanwhile, for UVA, a win puts them into the championship series. So Kevin O'Sullivan, they're going to have to beat Virginia twice to get into the championship series. They got there in 2011. Now Nathan Kirby, his dad looking on as he makes his first start in a while. April 17th, that lat strain. And so far so good. He's given up just 1 hit, and he's walked 1.
You know, interesting that Virginia would go with a pitch out in that situation. As quick as Kirby is to home plate, I mean, it's going to be a first move scenario if Florida does opt to run, but it tells me maybe Brian O'Connor and Virginia maybe felt like they had a sign or something. Seems a bit odd that you'd pitch out in that spot with a lefty on the hill.
Bunt pop foul. Let's go down to Cayley.
Kirby's rehab process, guys, I'm told by Carl Kuhn, was boring and tedious. But in the way Kuhn has seen Kirby mature since his freshman year, he was very equipped to handle it in this scenario. And now Kirby says he became a bit of a bullpen coach during his injury, as the hardest part for him was having to watch his team play without him. He said, "I've just got the good juju. It's not my job to tell people how to pitch." He's just been doing his best to bring good energy to that pitching staff in his absence.
Yeah, in the dugout as well. He's the designated high fiver throughout the time here and in the NCAA tournament. He's got a little different feel to him, is how he's described. I mean, back in the day, I guess you don't hear it as much now, but he sounds left-handed.
You know, one thing Brian O'Connor did praise about Nathan Kirby is the work habits and the regimen that he goes through, and where he likes to keep things loose, can be a little goofy. Nathan Kirby, when it comes to work ethic and routine, very diligent.
Pushed out of play to the right. Well, the Gators have played 3 games, twice against Miami, and they've unloaded 25 runs. But their other game, a 1-0 loss for Kevin O'Sullivan and company to these Virginia Cavaliers. So,
and that was Brandon Waddell, another left-handed pitcher that really silenced a hot-hitting team.
Feast or famine. And again, Guthrie stepping back in. Well, Guthrie, his dad Mark, who pitched at LSU, played in the big leagues. And they like him a lot, just a freshman. Kirby ready to work. Now, one thing we've seen through college baseball, the power of the SEC. 4 teams getting here to the College World Series. 2 of them have been eliminated, Arkansas and LSU. But playing in that conference certainly prepares you for a trip to Omaha. That one bounced up the middle. That's a base hit. Guthrie's not stopping. He'll make it to third as he slides in safely. And they're at the corners following the single from Ryan Larson.
Well, what a quality at bat from Larson. A couple bunt attempts early in the at bat, but when he got to 2 strikes, really his approach just went the other way. He fouled off a changeup the other way. You can tell respecting that changeup and just trying to allow that ball to get deep. He gets a fastball in the middle of the plate, and a Gator finally times that fastball up as he hit that ball sharply back through the middle. And the Gators now with a scoring opportunity here in the 3rd.
And this guy right here, he's got some pop. Popped out his first time. Guthrie'd been hitting leadoff for most of the year up until an injured wrist in the SEC tournament. Bader had been hitting anywhere in the 3, 4, 5 range, right in the heart of the order. But they plugged Bader into the top of the order, and he has stayed put since the end of that SEC tourney. Change up there, peel to first, and he went. Mike Morris got him on a swing, so now it's 0-2.
Another changeup, the bottom of the zone, as we see Alec Bettinger getting ready to is now at 44 pitches. They'll start to watch Nathan Kirby extremely close. Again, not a lot of sliders that we've seen from Kirby. At some point they may go to it here, especially with 2 strikes.
Whoa.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Nice looking in. Carl Kuhn, the pitching coach there. At the corners with 1 out. Just missed down and in, and now it's even up 2-2. Tice having some trouble as he finally gets the sign from the Virginia dugout. Towards third, foul ball, just foul. Jeff Hendricks there on top of the call as that spilled out of Kenny Towns' glove. Man, that was right close to the line.
Yeah, Bader stays back well on this changeup, a pitch he's been out in front of a little bit so far. Waits long enough and almost picked himself up an infield hit and an RBI, but just foul down there.
Bader, a kid who grew up in New York, went to high school in New York City, and eventually a 3rd-round pick of the St. Louis Cardinals. Slow roller right side, Clement, and they only have a chance to get 1. A run comes in, and we're starting over. It's a 1-1 game.
Well, good execution by Kirby there, who located that changeup exactly where he wanted, kind of deadened it down and away. Bader out in front of it again, but gets a piece of it enough to drive home the first run, and with 2 outs, another runner moves up into scoring position now for Florida.
So 2 down, a run in, and a 1-1 game here at TD Ameritrade Park. Matt Thice in the first, an RBI single to give Virginia the lead. Florida has just tied things up. It's an elimination game for the Gators, and for UVA, a win will send them to the championship series. And coming up tonight, it's TCU and Vanderbilt. Richie Martin now. Same deal tonight. TCU needs to beat Vanderbilt to keep their season alive. If Vandy wins, they punch their ticket for the championship series. So, I mean, we got a shot at a rematch from last year.
Oh, yeah.
Two.
2-0.
2-5.
Martin walked his first time and then was caught stealing.
And this is normally a time when, look, 2-0, you get it ready for that good fastball in the heart of the plate. But Kirby's shown enough willingness to throw any pitch in any count. You still got to respect the secondary pitch, even though ahead in the count. And you heard Martin, you could hear him on the audio just saying time, time, time. And what I liked is he stayed in there until it was granted. He just stayed with his stance. It got to be a long wait. Time, time, time. Finally, you're granted. Then you can step out. Don't assume as the hitter. Good job there by Martin.
Right field, well hit. And that one's going to roll and roll. in to score is Larson. Martin's got himself an RBI double, and the Gators have taken a 2-1 lead.
Well, another really good approach. Ahead in the count, but not trying to do too much with the fastball. We've seen Martin already go opposite field for a home run in this College World Series. Here he gets a fastball around belt high out over the plate, and it's just a really good short swing. Lets the ball get deep in the zone and rifles it into that corner. Another quality at bat from Richie Martin.
So 2 down and a man in scoring position for Josh Tobias as the Gators have pushed ahead. And they lead it 2-1. And now a little visit to the mound. Alec Bettinger continues to get loose.
And now at 51 pitches, you know, even though he really hasn't lost it too much by any means. I mean, Florida's done a pretty good job here in this inning. This would figure to probably be his last inning, certainly, as he's now up north of 50 pitches.
Yeah, get this out, and then they'll bring Bettinger in to start the 4th. So Florida on top 2-1. Absolutely gorgeous day in Omaha. It is not normally this time of the year. It's hot. It has really been pleasant.
Yeah, we've avoided that hot, steamy day. I think it's on its way starting tomorrow here, and
do you, Al Roker?
Gonna hang around for the next few days. Yeah.
Got a high pressure system coming in.
Mid 80s there, or is that what?
That says 90.
Yeah, I ain't buying it.
No.
That thing's a little hot. Must be some turf around that.
Tobias, who popped to short his first time. And Kirby's thrown 20 pitches in the inning, so after getting some help on the base paths in the first and a very efficient second inning, he gives up 3 hits here in the 3rd.
Another really good changeup there from Kirby, and I like all the dancing around that Richie Martin was doing. It seemed initially to be a distraction to Kirby, and with 2 outs, he's really got to focus in on Kirby. But after staring, throwing back there a little bit, he went to a no look. Just kind of changed his look and threw an outstanding first pitch change to Tobias.
And that's a base hit left field. And around to score is Martin. Tobias delivers 3-1 Gators.
Well, that could be it for Nathan Kirby as Tobias continues his hot hitting. Looked like he got a fastball on the inside part of the plate. No, another changeup. They wanted to go down away. They doubled up, and it just stayed up, middle in, and that short, good compact swing from Tobias, and a big 2-out hit for the Gators.
And we are going to have ourselves a pitching change. So Brian O'Connor will take the baseball from the junior. Hadn't pitched in a while, 9 weeks to be exact. And he leaves. It's a 3-1 game. Bettinger coming in. And back with more baseball from Omaha after this. Well, the afternoon is over for Nathan Kirby. Florida by a couple, 2 outs and a man aboard, and we got ourselves a pitching change. And let's go back and take a look at what's taking place this inning.
Well, the approach of the Gators really good this inning. Kirby continued to go to that changeup, but he was working the outside part of the plate, and the Gators had tremendous plate coverage this inning, working the ball up the middle and the other way. And then a mistake there from Kirby, that changeup leaking back over the heart of the plate and elevated. That's really one of the few kind of really good pitches to hit this inning for Florida. It's been more them hitting quality pitches, and Tobias adds to that lead.
Here's a guy in Alex Bettinger, versatile pitcher. He's closed for them some. That was when Spores was starting. He's also started. So, I mean, pretty much any scenario you bring this guy in, he's going to be ready for it.
Yeah, fastball will get up around 93 at times. Go with the slider and curve. The changeup's kind of his 4th pitch. He'll mix it in a little to lefties.
This guy, by the way, we were talking about Pavin Smith. Ball jumps off his bat, doesn't it, Schwartz?
Oh, man.
Got his sister here. Sister was breaking down a swing the other night with Kaylee.
Impressive, too. It's fun hearing about them growing up and hitting together on the same field with their dad. And
it was funny as well. See the other night, it made me think of her advice in terms of her dad.
Tom, step off for me.
The other night, Anthony Rizzo hit a home run.
Good.
And I mean, went full Reggie Jackson, back knee on the ground. And remember what Taylor said. Dad said, get your back knee dirty.
Yeah, he did.
And so Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs goes yard. And see Adrian Beltre do that a ton. And Taylor's up on Bro, 2 titles to none.
Yeah, JJ's trying to catch his big sister in the hardware department, though. Back-to-back national champions. Gator women in softball.
Safe!
Close play over there. Mike Morris bellowing safe.
Yeah, pretty quick move there from Bettinger, who with 2 outs here, trying to keep Tobias close. Tobias, one of those Gators that will do some running, 11 for 13 in the stolen base department.
Have you done any youth league umpiring?
No. You?
No, but I could see you being good at it, and I think there'd be a naked gun aspect to you behind the plate.
I probably definitely have to have some kind of shtick going back there.
Just wandered into my mind, that's all. Schwartz in this one grounded to third. Towns was guarding the line. And you talk about playing him to pull. Look at that. I mean, look at Paisley shaded towards left center. I mean, if it's a hard ground ball right up the middle, it could get to the fence.
That's right. Yeah, a lot of times when you see a drastic shift in the infield, typically you'll see the outfielders playing more straight up. But it's full pull mode for the Virginia defense.
Yeah, it's extreme. A lot of space out there in center.
we got there?
No, we need to get to the bottom of that. Ripped left field. And how about Tobias, as that one was bobbled? He was going to third regardless, and they're at the corners. Well, he stayed back nicely on that one, did Schwartz. He could swing it.
Yeah, he lets this breaking ball travel much deeper than out after being out in front, and stays in the hitting zone a long time with that bat and pounds it into left field. You want to shift over there? I'll just hit it low and in front of you. And Tobias did not hesitate at all. I think would have made it easily to third base, irregardless of the bobble out there in left field. And Florida continues to apply the pressure here in the third.
Alonso, a strikeout victim his first time. Here this afternoon, the Gators need a win to keep their season alive. And Virginia, with a victory, would put themselves right back in the championship series for the second straight year. Virginia led 1-0. Florida's come back with 3 runs all here in the last of the third. And Alonso fouls that one off of Theis. Schwartz over there at first with Tobias at third. Gators looking for more. One of the more dynamic offenses in the college game, and we've seen it on display in 2 of the 3 games here at Omaha. Up and in, off the glove of Theis. Here comes Tobias, and it's 4-1.
Well, Tobias, who aggressively took third base on that 2-out base hit from Schwartz, and it pays off as Theis just jumps way outside. We've seen him do that a lot and kind of far, and that ball just drifts back off the inside corner as Bettinger misses his spot badly, but just off the toe of the glove there. And another big run here for Florida.
They say pass ball. So a man at second, and 1 and 2 on Alonso.
Hey, here we go. Bring it back.
Well, one of the things we look at teams and assess talent levels, talk so much about the draft, but Florida is so young. I mean, you're looking at a group of freshmen and sophomores making up half their lineup. And this might be the most talented team out there, at least position player wise. Three-2 now. Bettinger. And that's to left. Doherty drifting over and makes the grab for the final out. But Florida strikes 4 times. We head to the 4th, and Florida on top. It's a 4-1 lead over Virginia. Game 2 of our doubleheader coming up tonight. It'll be TCU and Vanderbilt. Effectively, Vanderbilt, same scenario as Virginia. TCU, same scenario as Florida. Tyler Alexander and Walker Buehler, another really good pitching matchup.
Yeah, Walker Buehler, first round pick. And how about Tyler Alexander? TCU going 4 deep from a starting standpoint, and really not much drop off at all.
Well, Barry, yes, sir.
Our ESPN research crew came up with a great note. TCU, their staff has faced 104 hitters here in Omaha. Only 14 batters on the other side have faced an undrafted TCU pitcher. That's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, they just keep rolling them out there. And we saw an outstanding relief effort last night from Teakle.
Now towards right for Larson. One of the things that's interesting to me as far as the college game right now is that you look at the group of 8 that are here, and the power programs are well represented here in Omaha. A liner back up the middle, and that's a base hit for Pavin Smith. So the freshman with his first knock.
And I think a lot of that, Boog, is thanks to the ball. I think the ball has eliminated now more fluke teams having a chance to get here. Fluke's not a great word. I keep using that, but I think there's more of an opportunity for a team that pitches decent to get involved in a 2-1 game with a superior team, and that's less likely now because the ball has made it more real baseball. Yes, more home runs, but the outfield has to play more routine or normal depths in the outfield, so there's more hits in the outfield, more chances for runners to move up. So I think the switch in baseball this year, I think, is everything the National Collegiate Athletic Association could have hoped for, you know.
Oh, we've certainly seen the home run ball a factor here in the games in Omaha. That towards the hole and under the glove of a diving Richie Martin. So back-to-back hits for Smith, and now Coleman 2 on with 1 out, and a dangerous man coming to the plate in Joe McCarthy. You know, the one other aspect as well, Virginia, Vanderbilt, TCU. You think about the college game in traditional powers. Miami's here. They won 4 times. Cal State Fullerton, same deal. But Virginia, TCU, and Vanderbilt are programs that have been built into powers, and they are premier programs. But it's happened really in the last 10 years. And it's a credit to those 3 guys for taking those programs and making them elite. Whether you're talking about Tim Corbin or Brian O'Connor, or you're talking about Jim Schlossnagle.
And all 3, I think we would agree, are here to stay for the long term. It's not coming to an end anytime soon. And this is a big area too, where, you know, we've kind of talked about Joe McCarthy having a couple home runs now in the year, both in the NCAA tournament. But even though he's hit .219, there's just a presence he's brought to the bottom of the lineup. He's been hitting 7th. You know, the pitchers have to respect him. It's a different look in this Virginia offense all of a sudden. And, you know, we talk about length in a lineup, and he certainly gives you that, because especially as he finds his timing now, which it looks like he's doing more and more, he's looking more like the middle of the order bat he's been throughout his college career.
2 on, 1 out. Gators by 3. If Florida wins, they'll do it again with Virginia tomorrow. If Virginia wins, they're in the championship series, awaiting either Vanderbilt or TCU. Who's he rooting for?
Well,
just got his hands on a lot of good gear, and
he's representing.
as the kids like to say.
Yep. Swagged up and representing. Holla.
Got him to chase downstairs, and McCarthy way out of front.
Well, we talked about that changeup being Logan Shore's best pitch. We've seen him pitch to both sides of the plate with a fastball, but one of his best changeups of the afternoon in a big spot here against McCarthy to get a big second out. That bottom fell right out of that changeup. McCarthy out in front and over the top.
Good time for the first strikeout of the afternoon for Logan Shore, and now it's Kevin Doherty. Walked his first time. I love these guys, by the way. The guys that throw left, bat right guys. There's so few of them. Did you play with any?
Cody Ross.
There you go.
Of course, Ricky Henderson.
Probably the best ever.
Yeah.
So few of them, though. Doherty 0 for 5 at the CWS, and he hits with Smith at second and Coleman at first. Here's a 1-1 towards third, and Tobias handles that inning over. Logan Shore pitching around a couple of singles. Gators on top here. Yep. Out. Boom. Best audio crew in the business. Some 100 microphones set up here at TD Ameritrade in Omaha, and we bring it all to you, the sights and the sounds. But I love the umpire stuff.
Yeah.
Buddy Reed here. He'll turn around and hit left-handed. Reed, Rivera, and Guthrie in the Florida fourth, and the Gators leading 4-1. They have to win in order to keep their season going. For UVA, a loss, and they're still alive. These two would do it again tomorrow. Center field, Hazley right there. So one away. More baseball coming your way, and this of the big league variety. Sunday night baseball from Chavez Ravine, the Dodgers and the Giants. Jock Peterson and the first place Dodgers taking on the Giants at 8 Eastern on ESPN. That game also available on ESPN Radio. Dave Fleming, Chris Singleton will have the call of that one.
Buster Posey, former College World Series star, two-way player.
This again in the air for Hazley. Deals with the wind a little bit.
And you know, Jock Peterson was minutes away from being a USC Trojan.
I'm aware. That's where his dad went.
That's where his dad went.
Yeah, some of the guys that were major factors in Omaha now in the bigs. Bauer and Cole, Brian Holiday, of course, with the Tigers. Michael Wacha at Texas A&M. Remember Mike Zunino a few years back, Sonny Gray.
And you know, we've touched on this, but it's been fun. It's fun to see the connection and the ties some of the big league players have to their teams here at the College World Series. And the passion, you know, David Price flying in to be here to support Vanderbilt, TCU last couple of years. Matt Carpenter and Finnegan.
Foul off first. Smith near the camera. Well, look out!
Man.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I actually yelled like he could hear me there because I didn't feel like he saw it.
Ow.
Yeah.
You and I would still be recovering.
Oh my gosh. So 0-2 now on Guthrie. Did you ever take a bad one of those over there at third?
Yeah. Flipped over the camera well in Cleveland, landed on my head. I don't know if it was concussion or not, but they took me out and I'm not sure where I am part of the time, but I definitely wasn't for a moment there in the Cleveland camera well.
Bettinger fires. And this time looks like Smith has some room and he makes the grab. Inning over. 1-2-3 go the Gators. End of 4. The Gators on top 4-1. Pavin Smith heading right into that camera well. Look out.
Florida with a 4-1 lead over Virginia as we head to the top of the 5th with Brian O'Connor now. Coach Nathan Kirby came back after 9 weeks off. What did you make of the 3 innings you got out of him?
You know, I thought he pitched really tremendously the first 2 innings, and certainly Florida made a nice adjustment to him in the 3rd inning. And, you know, we weren't going to run him over 55, 60 pitches, and he was about at that limit, so I thought it's a time to make a change.
As you guys look to find offense down 3, where are you looking?
Well, Shore's tough. You know, he's their #1 for a reason, and we had an opportunity that last inning, 1st and 2nd, went out and couldn't cash it in. We just got to keep battling him, hope we can get some runners on, somebody can punch him in.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Logan Shore, who has been extra tough in the NCAA tournament. This is his 4th start. And Tobias, one hop, smothers that on the grass and throws out Clement. He's been as advertised over there.
Man.
He made a play the other night where he knocked the ball down, and there was just no panic whatsoever as he was charging in, kicked it for a second, grabbed it. But it's one of those, he's made one error, and watching him here, you understand why.
Yeah, you said no panic, and when you make one error at third base, third base is the easiest position to make an error at, just because of the speed it can get down to you. You have to make the throw, but your footwork has to be sound. But I'm so impressed with how he uses his hands.
Out towards left center, laying out, and Reed couldn't make the grab. Almost a heck of a grab out there by Buddy Reed.
Yeah, he covered so much ground there. You know, Buddy Reed, another guy that's tremendous defensively here for the Gators. The jump and the closing on this ball is kind of a sinking liner slicing away from him. He gets there. He catches it. He just can't secure it at the end. But great range, great effort out there. And getting back to Tobias, I've been impressed with the 2 plays he's made today. The ability with his hands to get to the short hop and understanding the importance of trying to get to the short hop.
So Hazley over there at first, got 5 steals, caught once. Here's Pinero, who laid down a sac bunt in the first. And they scored in that inning. Ball and a strike now. Pinero drafted by the Tigers in last week's draft in the 36th round. He was their shortstop every day last year when they were the national runners-up. Got that lanky body, that kind of J.J. Hardy-ish type body.
Yeah.
Long.
Even longer, though.
Yep. Right side, Guthrie gets one there and on to first at a 4-6-3 inning-ending double play.
Heading into the bottom of the 5th here in Omaha, Florida's got a 3-run lead over Virginia. Coach, take us back to the success of that 3rd inning. How were you all able to break it open with those 4 runs?
Well, we had some really quality at bats, but I think it really all started with Ryan got a 2-strike hit. We got 1st and 3rd again, and then Bader battled with 2 strikes and put the ball in play, and we got our 1st run, and then we put some good at bats together after that.
Shore has been your #1 guy all season. What do you make of the way he's kept Virginia at bay?
Well, he's throwing strikes. Virginia's being awfully aggressive early in the count, and he's mixing his pitches early, and he's locating his fastball down and away, and he's got, I think the double play there was big. Every time we score, we want to put up a shutdown inning, and they had 1st and 2nd, 1 out, and he was able to get out of the inning without giving up another run. So we kept the momentum.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
So the Gators behind a solid effort today from Logan Shore in good position and trying to force an elimination game on Saturday with UVA. If Virginia can come back and win, then they're done until the championship series. Yeah, there's a strike to Ryan Larson. It'll be Larson, Bader, and Martin. Larson singled and scored in that 4-run 3rd. Off the end of the bat.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Larson, who hit .306 this year. This is his 50th start, so he started most of the way. And even when he doesn't start, he'll come on as a defensive replacement late a lot of the time. And a 1-2. What's your take on tonight's game?
Well, TCU's lined up from a pitching standpoint to be able to match up with Vanderbilt, but obviously Vanderbilt so talented.
Swatted out into right center, and a good jump by McCarthy as he tracks it down.
And has one of their really good pitchers in Walker Buehler going, although he hasn't pitched in a while. It's been a while since he's been out on the mound. Look, if any 2 teams are equipped to pull this off, I think it's Florida and TCU for different reasons from a depth standpoint. But Vanderbilt's going to be real tough tonight.
It'll come your way at 8 Eastern. And TCU, they've already played 5 elimination games, and they're 5-0. So they'll play another tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a more comfortable looking team than TCU when in crisis. I mean, we've talked about it, backs against the wall for the better part of a few weeks, played in a lot of key spots, extra inning game with Texas A&M to get here. But there's a comfort level there, and I think that comes from Jim Schlossnagle, his coaching staff, just a real calming presence that they have, and then the depth in their pitching to be able to give them a chance always.
Yeah, TCU may be as deep a staff as there is in the country.
2 balls, 1 strike.
1 down, bases empty with the Gators down early. They scored 4 runs in the 3rd, lead at 4-1. Good breaking ball clips the corner, and it's even up 2-2. Alec Bettinger, the second pitcher used by Brian O'Connor. Bader gets under this, and Theis tossing the mask, and in fair territory makes the grab. So 2 away. Fans log on to watchespn.com for inside access and unique camera angles during the entire College World Series.
Two out.
Let's go down to Kaylee.
As Richie Martin is crediting a new focus in his game in this junior year of his on the mental side of the game. He did some reading in the offseason. The Way of Baseball by Sean Green and The Inner Game of Tennis by Timothy Galway. I've actually read The Inner Game of Tennis. It's not so much about baseball, not so much about tennis. I'd put that on the reading list of anybody who's interested in learning how to get out of your own way and let the best version of yourself emerge.
I'm going to mark that down.
Yep. Lock it in.
Up. Little down, little out.
Theis is kind of shaking his head. We've seen a handful of times where he'll jump out almost into the other batter's box, and I think that tips off home plate umpire Perry Costello right away that anything out there is going to be a ball. Whereas I think if he subtly moved or stayed more in the strike zone and that same pitch happened and he received it calmly, I think he'd get some of those calls. I think there's too much movement side to side in his setup.
That's a foul ball. I do think what will happen every once in a while, if a catcher hops around too much, sometimes a pitcher will miss his spot and it will be a strike, but because the setup is so extreme and the reach is so extreme, a pitch that actually crosses the plate is sometimes called a ball.
Yep.
Richie Martin with a walk and an RBI double, and that focus has been pinpoint lately. Back up the middle, but they had him shaded that way. Pinheiro slings to first, and Bettinger gets him 1-2-3, set down 7 straight. A little tailgate, we call that Whoville. Virginia fans hanging out, playing some cards, and getting ready to watch a little UVA baseball. Plus, we got the pool. Got to bring the pool on the road.
Gotta.
Like that.
Whoville.
Top 6, 4-1. Virginia well represented. ACC has won a national title 1 time. Wake Forest back in the 50s. And Virginia trying to turn the trick again. Theis, Towns, and Smith against Logan Shore. The sophomore has given up a run on 5 hits.
Wow. Two balls, 1 strike.
You know, Logan Shore has been impressive. You know, we talked about him being a strike thrower, and he's certainly done that this afternoon. A guy that pitches to both sides with his fastball, but the ability to command both his breaking ball and his #1 pitch, a really good changeup. You hear Mike Rivera back there say, come on, that's right there. Wanted that pitch. Pitch maybe on the inside corner.
I got it.
Smacked the other way towards the corner, but foul. Theis, the sophomore. Florida with a pair of freshman catchers in Rivera and then the DH J.J. Schwartz. Theis 1 out of 2. He knocked in their run back in the first. There's Schwartz.
Good spot. Good score.
And Theis has really strung together a lot of real quality at bats. Here again doing it. Just good plate coverage on that pitch out away from him and getting deep in the count here.
Did he go? Yeah, he did. And that's a strikeout. So Theis rung up. And there's 1 down. Touched on this earlier. The ACC 1955 Wake Forest won it all. 46 College World Series appearances for the conference. Been in the title game 6 times. Just that 1 national title. Gets hit by a pitch. I mean, with Virginia and Florida State, you're going to have 2 of the better teams in the country year in and year out. It doesn't quite, the ACC, have the depth of the SEC, but no conference does.
Yeah, but you know, North Carolina and Clemson and these teams have had times when they've had some really good teams. So it is surprising and likely a matter of time.
And of course, can't leave out the Hurricanes. See those 10 SEC titles, 19 finals appearances. Gators made it back in 2011. Pavin Smith, a single. He's also flied out. Smith, their everyday first baseman. Yeah, NC State got here a couple years ago. Towns wasn't on the go there. Logan Shore has been very efficient. 1 out in the 6th. And he's at 61 pitches. Good eye there by Smith.
Yeah, Logan Shore has certainly been as advertised and continued not only what's been an outstanding year, but an outstanding NCAA tournament. Talked about 3 wins already in the tournament, including 1 here at the College World Series and an ERA just north of 1. And he has continued to pound that strike zone pretty much all afternoon today.
Change up again, and Smith over top of that one.
I mean, he starts this one on the outside corner. And look at the run down and away. The arm action's outstanding, but that ball just starts in the zone and disappears down and away. As good a changeup as you'll see. And he made a good hitter in Pavin Smith look kind of foolish out in front of that pitch. Very impressive.
So 2 down now, and it's Robbie Coleman to DH.
Ball.
At ball 1. Coleman 1 out of 2 with a single. Virginia run on 5 hits. All 5 of the hits are singles. Florida 4 runs on 5 hits. John Shelby, Aaron Boone, Kaylee Hartung. An elimination game for the Gators. The wind has been blowing in mainly. And now Kevin O'Sullivan's going to go out and pay a little visit to Logan Shore.
I think he wants to talk to Rivera and ask where some of these pitches are. I think they feel like they're getting squeezed a little bit right now on a couple of these calls, and I think this is much to talk to his catcher Mike Rivera and say, where are those pitches? Are they off the plate? Is that last pitch, for example, is that down? And maybe he's waiting to have a word or two with Perry Costello as he's walking out to the mound now to break this up.
Shore with just 1 walk. I think you might be right. Just waiting on the umpire to deliver a little message.
Remove Mike from that statement.
So 2 down and a man at first. Shore has fallen behind 2-0 on Coleman. Now 3-0. Coleman at .298, a homer. He's knocked in 22 on the year, and Joe McCarthy lurking in the on-deck circle. And with 2 outs, a walk puts 2 aboard.
Well, the biggest thing, though, for Logan Shore right now is to not let it affect him. Yeah, a few of these have definitely been borderline, and we've seen him called strikes, but they have been borderline. You know, probably pitches that could have gone either way. And now all of a sudden you've got Joe McCarthy, who has the capability with 1 swing to tie this game up. You can't let the past couple of hitters start to leak into your psyche or what you plan to do next.
McCarthy selected by the Rays. His little brother is coming to play at Virginia next year. And like Joe, really good football player, even better football player than Joe. Good athlete, a little bit raw.
Yeah.
Pretty good endorsement of the program, too, when little brother wants to go follow in his brother's footsteps.
Mm-hmm. First and second. Towns at second. Coleman at first. It's Florida by 3. And Shore a strike away from getting out of the inning.
See, and that's a pitch right there. You don't need to jump in the other batter's box. You're just saying, I'm going to throw a ball, and because that's a fastball away, that's not a pitch the hitter's going to offer at.
Yeah, McCarthy spoils that one. Virginia hasn't put a ball in play here in the inning. A couple of strikeouts, a hit batter, and a walk. These two teams met once already, and Virginia with a 1-0 shutout win. Right side. And Guthrie able to handle that from the outfield grass. Nicely done. Midway in the 6th, and Florida leads Virginia 4-1. Here at TD Ameritrade, as we go to the bottom of the 6th, it is a 4-1 Florida lead as they're on top of Virginia. Florida needs a win to keep their season going. Time now for a pick you up moment of the game. It's brought to you by Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and the Gators in that 3rd inning scoring 4 times.
Yeah, they tied it up on an RBI ground out for the 2nd out of the inning, and then 3 runs came with 2 outs. Richie Martin with a double the other way. Tobias got a hanging changeup that played at the 3rd run, and then a benefit of a pass ball here with a runner on 3rd. And that's where this game stands as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Florida with that 4-1 lead.
So Kirby goes 2 2/3, gives up the 3 earned runs. What did you think about what you saw from him?
Pretty good. You know, we didn't see much slider, which is his, you know, really, which is his strikeout pitch. He got going there. Got the future there on the Florida dugout.
That was Harrison Bader.
Yeah.
Is that maybe an ice machine? Could he be icing his hand?
Well, getting back to Nathan Kirby, I thought he pitched pretty well. He didn't have the wipeout slider, but good command of the changeup. And look, I thought Florida, a very good offensive team, made a pretty good adjustment to him in the 3rd. And
that's the one you're talking about right there. That one.
You could hear Perry Costello barking over at the Florida dugout.
And he just called that pitch a ball, and he's saying it's the same pitch you guys have been barking at me about against you.
No, we're giving it first.
And now Tobias will take first. You can hear Theis trying to get him to stay put at the plate.
Fastball on the back leg.
Have a heart, Matt.
Ow. Ow.
Yeah, that doesn't feel real good. Not a lot of padding in that spot. What is that machine?
We're working on it, Boog.
Okay.
Guys, it's called core control. That machine is running cold water around his hand. They say it helps a lot with cramping, particularly in hot weather situations, something a team who plays in Gainesville, Florida, plenty of the season knows a lot about. It'll cool down his body temperature. He'll only keep it on for an hour or 2, so 5 to 8 minutes. And the trainer here actually said it's something they picked up from the LSU staff, Jack Marucci, on the football staff at LSU.
Kaylee, while they're out in the field, do you think there's a chance that while they're looking the other way, you could steal that and bring that up to the booth?
If I get my hands on that, I'm going to hold on to it. I'm not bringing it up to you guys.
There she is, the selfish Kaylee Hartung downstairs.
Take another look at that thermometer, guys.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. She makes a fine case, and that is exactly how I would handle it were I in her shoes. And that misses off the outside edge, so now a ball and a strike. to J.J. Schwartz. Schwartz with a single his last time up.
But that's another fastball very close to the outside edge. But again, I think it's the catchers we've seen for both sides really jump out almost into that other batter's box, and it kind of tells home plate umpire Perry Costello, anything in the middle of the body, I'm not giving it to you.
Nathan Kirby started, gave way to this guy, Alec Bettinger. This is a valuable guy to have. He closed at a point when Spores was starting. He's also started for them. So there's really no situation you're going to put Alec Bettinger into that he's going to be uncomfortable. He's trained in the event of any emergency. Off the end of the bat, Hazley was way back, plays it on a hop, and so a little bloop single into center field for J.J. Schwartz. He's 2 out of 3.
Well, Schwartz picks on another breaking ball. This time it's off the end of the bat and playing deep out there and around to pull his Hazley. He gets a pretty good break on this ball, but because he's deep and it's not hit very hard at all, able to dump it in there. That breaking ball catches the outer half, and Schwartz just off the end of the bat, a little body language to make sure that gets down, and he continues his hot hitting.
And now the batter will be Peter Alonso, who's 0 for 2. They're battling that virus, and then as well he's got that face mask after breaking his nose early May. It was May 5th. Hitting in the cages, ball bounced up and got him, so he wears a protective device as well in the field.
Good job by Theis there in the dirt with that breaking ball. Drops it right in front of him. No chance for the runners to move up. Beautiful shot there. Beautiful ballpark.
TD Ameritrade here in Omaha, College World Series. This is the first of 2 from the College World Series. You got TCU and Vanderbilt coming up tonight. And same scenario. You got Vanderbilt unbeaten at 2-0. TCU needs a win to keep their season alive. And in this one, Florida needing a win to stave off elimination. And if they do pick up the victory, then the elimination game for both teams on Saturday. Florida on top 4-1, bottom 6 looking for more. Missed inside. Yeah, and that's through there for a strike. Gators hit those 4 homers the other night and hit a couple of them in a spot where we've never seen a ball go out here at TD Ameritrade. Out there just to the left of the batter's eye, and Alonso hit one of those. Now with the walk, the bases are loaded, and Bettinger in some trouble. And it looks like Rosenberger getting hot out there as Carl Kuhn comes out to talk with his pitcher. So for more coverage of the College World Series, including interactive brackets and highlights, go to ncaa.com. And a reminder, the D1 Women's Volleyball Championship is going to be held here in Omaha. It's December 17th and 19th. And it'll be the 3rd time Omaha has hosted the Division I Women's Volleyball Championship. So not just baseball, but this year volleyball as well here in Omaha. You going shopping yet? You gotten any souvenirs?
No.
Okay. You gonna get on that?
I think I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went and got a shirt or two for the crew.
You and the tire crew, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all, I mean, got a bunch of different stuff, but there was one shirt we all really liked, so we all got our hands on one.
Time out.
Debuted him at the meeting this morning. No, you like that shirt as well. Okay. All loaded up here, and it's Buddy Reed. Slap the other way. Foul ball. Just outside the paint down that left field line.
Got a little hanging breaking ball and just kind of inside out it and tried to flare it down that line. You see the slice on that ball, and as it lands about 2 or 3 feet foul. Florida, you know, would love to break this thing open and potentially put this game away here with a great opportunity to add to an already 3-run lead.
Now, Reed's been good in these spots this season. He's 0 for 2 in this game. Swings through that one. Buddy Reed, who swapped places in the outfield with Harrison Bader, and Reed, who played left last season, has taken over in center. Really good defensive player. And we've talked about the speed and the talent in a number of positions. You know about the shortstops with Martin, Swanson, and Bregman, but the center fielders as well. Stevenson at LSU, of course, Cody Jones with TCU. This guy.
Good spoil.
Well, Buddy Reed's seen everything now and fouled off everything. He's gotten a couple of breaking balls elevated in the strike zone, and they're a fastball away that he's able to spoil. I think a pitch to work with here. I think they should try to climb the ladder with that fastball. See if you can't get him to chase up. Maybe worst case you get the pop up.
Stays 1-2 as he gets a piece of that. Theis peeking in, getting the signs, and then has to look at the wristband and then relaying back to Bettinger. It's been a bit of a process here this afternoon. And now 2-2. All loaded up. You got Tobias over there at third. He was hit by a pitch. Schwartz with a bloop single out there at second. And Alonso, who walked over there at first. All loaded up, nobody out. Florida trying to break this open. It's an elimination game for the Gators. Meanwhile, for Brian O'Connor, he knows that if they lose, there's still tomorrow. To the right side and coming home, and they get the out there. Pretty good job there by Pavin Smith. the way it was hit, they were only going to get one out.
Yeah, that's a great play by Pavin Smith. I didn't think he was going to have much of a chance to come home because the ball's not hit very sharply. You got speed at third base in Tobias, but a good job of getting his feet around and throwing accurately to home plate. That is a really good play by Pavin Smith. You see Theis with the stretch as Tobias comes sliding in. Real nice job by the Virginia first baseman. And now you're a ground ball away from wiggling off really a chance for Florida to kind of put this game away. A ground ball here, and maybe you're out of this inning. Give yourself a chance in the later innings.
There's going to be wiggling, though.
Could be some wiggling, some shimmying. I'm sure I'll get.
All right, let's do it.
Kyle Peterson thesaurus delivered to me to give you even a few more.
He actually sent you a thesaurus link earlier, did he not?
He did. Those Stanford Smarty Pants, you know, they like to do those kind of things.
Yeah, he and Mendoza. You want me to just do it real quick for you? I get it. You're smart. I'm good. Carl Ravage, Kyle Peterson, and Jessica Mendoza. They'll have the call of the game tonight. And that'll be TCU and Vanderbilt. Gorgeous day here at TD Ameritrade for this one between Virginia and Florida. Gators with the lead. The freshman catcher 0 for 2. And Bettinger has fallen behind 2-0. Swings through that.
And that just shows you Bettinger as he creeps up on 60 pitches here, still with pretty good stuff out there. Behind in the count 2-0. Rivera is certainly sitting dead red, and he just blows a fastball right by him at the top of the strike zone.
That one just spinning and stayed up. So now 3-1 and no place to put this guy.
No, and if you're Rivera, you know you're getting another fastball here. You just kind of set your sights in the heart of the plate, maybe even away a little, knowing he just wants to throw a four-seam fastball somewhere to the outer half to the middle of the plate and dial it up.
Went to
a little too ambitious as that ball rode up around chin level, and Rivera knew it as he started at it that pitch was out of the zone.
So Rivera back in with the bases loaded and 1 out and a payoff pitch. Rivera, good throwing catch guy. Average sits at 260. He's got 3 homers. Got a golden opportunity right here at the bat. Ripped into right center. That's a base hit. 1 run in to score. And that's all they'll get. They'll stay loaded. An RBI single from Rivera, and it's now 5-1.
Well, a great job of working to a favorable count. He chased the pitch he didn't want, but eventually gets it done. A breaking ball that he starts him with. Fastball off the edge. Now all of a sudden he's 2-0. He swings through a good fastball up in the zone, and then on 3-1 gets a little too aggressive. He's able to spoil another pitch, but really had that fastball timed up there by that last pitch and got a pitch in the heart of the plate and drilled it into right center to add to this Gators lead.
And still only one out. Dalton Guthrie, who was Rivera's teammate in high school. He's up to it. He's 1 for 2. Logan Shore's got some insurance. Found the mark there, 0-2.
There you go, got to be back in.
Yeah, things have gone a little differently for the Gators. It's not exactly been an offensive onslaught here today, but nowhere to go but up when you're rocking 0. Kind of a hanger in that spot now, 1-2. Alonzo, Reed, and Rivera on the bases. Nice stop back there. Theis on the breaking ball in the dirt.
And that continues a theme, Boog, in this College World Series, just how good the catchers have been at blocking balls in the dirt. They're a slider that it's almost becoming routine and ho-hum for these catchers. Another ball just deadened right in front of Theis there and keeps another run from scoring.
Yeah, all the catchers have done such a good job on pitches in the dirt. That one way high, having some trouble with that breaking ball. I talked with Kyle Peterson about that on the air the other night, and he made the point that, you know, in college, he feels like they throw more breaking balls. And so, you know, when we're talking about deadening pitches in the dirt, you have to do it on the breaking ball. There's really no excuse more often than not for blocking a breaking pitch in the dirt.
No, stay in there.
3-2 now.
Ball 4.
And he walks in a run. So Guthrie takes ball 4, and it's now 6-1.
Yeah, with very few exceptions, we've seen breaking balls in the dirt get away from a catcher. A couple of fastballs that you don't really account for as a catcher have gotten by, but consistently across the board in this College World Series, outstanding in the dirt, and maybe that's all for Bettinger.
And Brian O'Connor makes the point to the pen. And we got ourselves a pitching change. All Gators here today. It is 6-1 Florida.
Bring on the storm. Bring on the thunder. Let us stand strong with each other.
One game here at TD Ameritrade in Omaha, the 2015 College World Series. And with one out and the bases loaded, we got ourselves a pitching change. Florida on top. Gators need a win to continue their season. And Alec Bettinger, 2 2/3, gives up a couple of runs and still responsible for all 3 guys on base. He'll turn it over to a left-hander. It's David Rosenberger.
Yeah, the junior's on from Bethlehem, PA, a 4-pitch pitcher, Fastball, slider, curve, and change. He's a finesse lefty, kind of over the top, tries to keep these hitters off balance, and he's on for the 17th time and on in a big spot here to try and limit the damage, as this game is in threat of really getting away from Virginia here in the home half of the 6th.
Well, coming in statistically, Miami rated as the best team here offensively. They were second in the nation in runs per game, first in on-base percentage, but Florida thumped them twice, and the Gators have put on, in the overall, a really impressive offensive display here at TD Ameritrade. Oh, nice play. Pinheiro goes to third for one. Towns over to first. They won't get the run, or they won't get the runner there. A run comes in, but a heck of a play by Pinheiro.
Yeah, this is, I mean, goes with the theme. We've seen some tremendous shortstop play, and with the infield playing in, look, he wants to go home with this ball, but really there's going to be no chance for him to get the runner at home plate. So he wisely regathers himself, says, hey, all right, I can at least get this lead runner going to third base here. They get the force, and even though, look, you don't want to give up any more runs at this point, obviously, you still have to take what the game gives you, and a really nice play and a smart play by Pinheiro there.
I'm with you. I'm sure that he was dying to try and come home, but they're just not going to get anything there, and so he took the out. Take what the game gives you.
Take what the game gives you. You know who taught me that?
Who?
Your hero, Michael Jack Schmidt. Just tell me when I was a kid, Aaron, take what the game gives you. The game gave you a force out at third. Take it.
So you'd be wandering around the clubhouse and getting free advice from Michael Jack.
Yeah.
You know, Rick Sutcliffe played a really mean joke on me in spring training, right?
Yeah, yes, I do.
I told him that he was, you know, my guy, my favorite player. He took me out onto the field, asked me if I'd, just the two of us, if I'd met him before. Yeah, a couple of times. Marched me right up to him, tapped Schmidt on the shoulder, points at me. Do you have any idea who this is? And you know, Schmidt can have that sort of dead eye, and he looks me up toes to nose and just goes, no. Who are you? Should I know who you are? Center field, and Hazley over there. He'll pick it up on a bounce, and the Gators opening things up here as Florida now leads it by the count of 8-1.
Well, just another really good job at hitting by the Florida Gators. We've seen them use the entire field for the better part of the afternoon. Looks like an off-speed pitch on the outside part of the plate. Tremendous plate coverage there by Harrison Bader, and he drills that pitch back through the middle. And outside of the game where Brandon Waddell of Virginia shut him down, this Florida offense continues to be a juggernaut in the College World Series.
Right field, and McCarthy coming on. That'll fall in front of him. Run in to score. And Martin knocks in a run. 9-1 Florida.
Well, they just continue in these RBI situations. There's just a conscious effort and approach for Florida of just, we're going to work the ball the other way. We're going to see the ball long. It allows you to be better on off-speed pitches. They know they don't have an overpowering lefty in the lineup here. And as we've seen this entire tournament, Richie Martin continues to work the ball the other way. Another run-scoring single for him in Florida.
Martin did not have a great offensive year, but scouts like him as a hitter. And I think we're getting a little bit of a look here at the College World Series and more what he is as a hitter and why they like him so much. 9-1 Florida. This inning started with Josh Tobias getting hit by a pitch. And that was with him hitting from the left side. And in the air, caught it short. Pinero pulls it down. Inning over. Gators pick up 5. We head to the 7th, and it's 9-1.
I'm a wrecking ball. And I believe.
We're going to run the highlight
Back
first.
here in Omaha, John Sciambi, Aaron Boone, and Kaylee Hartung. Gators lead at 9-1, but we're talking defense here. And Josh Tobias, Aaron Boone, has been one of the best defensive players in the country this year, and I know there's a lot you like about him.
Yeah, he does a great job of getting to the short hop, which as an infielder, especially as a third baseman, you want to either get long hops or short hops, and he does that by using his hands to really work through the baseball. We've seen a couple times today him get short hops and turn them into outs. And a lot of times on a play like that to his left like that, you'll see a third baseman or an infielder kind of surrender, and it'll turn into an in-between hop, which a lot of times will eat a player up. What he does is he kind of works through that with his hands, so he gets the short hop, and he's made a couple of really nice plays today, something he's been doing all season long for the Gators.
Tobias with just the one error. Yeah, the Gators defense overall very, very good. Today, a couple of assists. Sounded like that one was foul tip, maybe a touch into Rivera's glove. Ball to strike to Kevin Doherty. Left field, and that's ripped for a base hit. So the leadoff man aboard, it's Doherty, and now it'll bring up the second baseman, Ernie Clement. Clement 0 for 2. He had the big walk-off hit against Maryland in the Supers. Good stop by Rivera on that breaking ball.
Hey, Boog, how about this? Is the if Florida can get to 10 runs, it would be their third time in this College World Series scoring 10 or more. It happened 3 times from 2011 to 2014.
So the Gators, if they score one more run, will do it 3 times in this CWS appearance. Long run down there and a foul ball as Larson went hard after it. So they basically would match in the history of this ballpark. Yeah. I mean, there you go. 4 homers in a single game, the 3 longest homers. First team to score 10 or more in 2 different games. And by the way, if you take it back to the Super Regionals, if they end up getting to 10 today, they'll have scored 10 or more in 5 of their last 6 games. So,
and a lot of this team, a lot of that thump returns to this team next year, including their ace on the mound right now.
Yeah, this guy just a sophomore. Yeah, top 2 guys in their order, Bader and Martin. Or top 3, Bader, Martin, and Tobias. Junior, senior, and everybody else freshman or sophomore. 1-2 to Clement. So back-to-back singles.
Not a terrible pitch here. It's a slider located down and away, but a good job of Clement of having excellent plate coverage. Just kind of a short swing that he cuts off, but able to pound it through that left side, and that might be Might be all for Logan Shore.
Kevin O'Sullivan out there with his big sophomore from Minnesota, who's been so good in the NCAA tournament, coming in 3 starts, 15 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs. So now it's up to 21 2/3 innings, and he's given up 3 earned runs in the NCAA tournament. That covers 4 starts. Paisley trying to find his way on base. Let's go downstairs to Kaylee.
Well, guys, Florida needs Logan Shore's arm now, but USA's collegiate national baseball team is going to need his help this summer. And 3 more Florida Gators too: A.J. Puck, J.J. Swartz, and Buddy Reed. They're also on the team, as well as UVA's pitcher Connor Jones. Now, the fact is, practice for the USA baseball team, it started today. I think these guys get a pass while they're in Omaha. St. John's coach Ed Blankmeyer will be the coach of the team, and Paul Maneri, LSU's coach, who's now headed back to Baton Rouge, I'm sure will be making the trip to join those guys soon, as he's an assistant on the team.
Yeah, so they get a pass, I would say.
I think, yeah, they're good.
Yeah, we're good. All right, let me ask you this. So Florida is up 9-1. How much do you start to contemplate what you're looking at going forward relative to potential for the championship series, and how long you want Shore to be out there?
Well, I think it potentially factors in, but look, he's at 84 pitches now. So, I mean, look, he's had a full outing. And I think any way you slice it, if Florida is to get to the championship series, you're probably not going to bring him back on a Tuesday, for example, on 3 days rest. So 4 days rest would be preferable. So if it went to a Game 3 deciding game, I think whether you leave him in for the long haul here or pull him now, he should bounce back and be fine either way.
Two on, 1 out, all Florida in this one. An elimination game for the Gators. And for Virginia, if they pull off the miracle, it would be to send them back to the championship series. Regardless, it looks like these two are going to get together again tomorrow. And then it is win or go home for both teams. Into center field, and Pinero with the knock. And they'll hold Doherty at third. They're all loaded up.
Pinero's, we've seen that throughout this College World Series now. A lot of good quality short swings. Really uses his lower half good, and as a big guy is able to keep that swing short, just explodes on the lower half and gets the barrel of the bat to the ball. Another line drive off the bat of Daniel Pinero.
So Sachs backed 1 out, 9-1 Florida. And it's Theis who's 1 out of 3. He knocked in the lone Virginia run. That was back in the first. Florida scored 9 unanswered. So Rivera made the visit, and as soon as he was about to step back behind the plate, Kevin O'Sullivan out, and we've got ourselves a pitching change. Now, coming up on Father's Day, SportsCenter feature tells the story of former Boston College captain Pete Freitas and his journey from baseball player to ALS spokesman who inspired the Ice Bucket Challenge. Sunday will be his first Father's Day, and in honor of him, SportsCenter featured presents A Father's Legacy Sunday SportsCenter at 11 a.m. on ESPN. So Pete Freitas, of course, I mean, an inspiration to so many people, and helped raise awareness for ALS, the Ice Bucket Challenge. I know I got a chance to do it, and I talked about the other night. It means a lot to me. Lost a friend to ALS. I'm a BC alum like Pete, and we've gotten a chance to direct message and tweet at one another. Met his family at the World Series last year, which was a thrill for me, especially for a guy that's shown a lot of courage. So looking forward to watching that on Sunday.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, the awareness that was raised last year through all that was amazing, and looking forward to watching it as well.
As far as what we have here, it's been all Florida here today. You're talking about a Gator team that throughout the College World Series, they've shown off an amazing offense, and it's happening again here today.
Yeah, throughout the NCAA tournament, with the exception of Brandon Waddell of Virginia, who shut them down, they've been on display. And Logan Shore did what an ace does. You know, he gave up a first inning run, but he has shut down the Virginia offense for the most part. It all got started with an RBI ground out for Florida early on, and then with 2 outs in that big 4-run third inning, they got 3 hits to play a couple more runs. They benefited from a pass ball that scored the 4th run, and then really Florida has not looked back since then, as they've kind of beaten up on the underbelly of the Virginia bullpen, consistently using the entire field, working the ball the opposite field, especially in run-scoring situations. And this lineup that's been so good up and down, the consistency, the length of their lineup has truly been impressive today. Richie Martin, their first-round pick, dumping a couple hits the other way after we saw him hit one out of the ballpark to the opposite field. But this is a deep and talented Florida team playing really well today.
Now, the offense has been a big part of the story. I think one of the other parts that bears pointing out, and that would be the Florida bullpen. And this one driven in the air, left center field. Bader there makes the grab. Doherty's going to tag, throw to the plate, and it squirts away. And taking the extra base down there to third is Clement. So a run in, and they're going to have to get somebody for an error in that spot. Just finishing up the thought on the Florida pen. Now 11 innings at the College World Series. In 7 appearances, no runs allowed. So that's pretty good stuff. Pretty good work for the Gator pen. And Bobby Pointer, who was just picked in the 14th round.
Yeah, there is part of that outstanding bullpen. Look at just the 6 walks in over 60 innings of work, 57 strikeouts. An ERA that really jumps out at you. And yeah, part of what's been a great pen. A fastball will top out about 90 miles an hour. Curveball, changeup. And a guy that gets both righties and lefties out.
9-2 now. Kenny Towns with 2 outs. And out there towards right center field. Reed on the move. He's not going to be able to get it. 1 run is in. Pinero around third. He's coming in to score. And Virginia adds 2 more. It's 9-4. Kenny Towns with the 2-run double.
Well, we've seen Kenny Towns get some big hits last year when Virginia was here in the College World Series. He's delivered this year already in this College World Series, and now showing, hey, we're not going to go quietly. A big double the other way, and Virginia may make a game out of this after all here in the later innings.
Out to Martin, and fires out Pavin Smith. That will end the inning. Virginia gets 3 back, but still all Florida. It's 9-4 as we stretch. Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of the NCAA College World Series presented by Capital One. Back here in Omaha as we go to the last of the 7th, and the Gators on top. It is 9-4 as we come to you from beautiful TD Ameritrade Park in downtown Omaha. Still to come tonight, you got TCU and Vanderbilt. And for the Gators, it'll be Schwartz, Alonso, and Reed against Rosenberger.
You know, Boov, you've talked a lot about the space out in spacious TD Ameritrade. Well, the pace of this game is kind of taking a hit here the last inning and a half.
No doubt. That's well put. There's the space. Kyle Peterson looking for some space. That clips the corner down 2-1. Now Kyle, of course, went to Stanford for first-round pick, but grew up here. And I mean, you're basically talking about the first games that he ever got to go to. First time he caught a foul ball, all at the College World Series. I never got to go to Rosenblatt, which bums me out. I did go over to the site the other day and
stood at home plate.
I did.
Vision things.
Well, they still have the foul poles up.
Yeah.
And they have some of the seats out there.
There it is.
Sits up on that hill.
Good thing he fouled. It was a good pitch.
2-2. Yeah, this is a look at it right here. Over there right by the zoo. Yeah, the original location of home plate. Got the foul poles and neat tribute where people are able to buy bricks and leave messages. And the outfield wall on a bounce. Third, Towns really playing him to pull. And safe at first.
Safe.
Is Schwartz.
Well, Kenny Towns is playing almost in left field there. They're playing, as we've seen with J.J. Schwartz, very much to pull and very deep in the infield. So he had to almost take a couple extra hops to try and get a little bit on that throw.
I had him running here. I had him running.
And Brian O'Connor right now is asking, hey, did he turn? I think you've got to make a move to second base.
Okay. I hear what
and
you're
I
saying.
think
Yes, sir.
because he
Yes, sir.
avoided the tag, that's the angle which ended up in the field of play. I think it's the right call down there at first base by Mike Morris.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's not as simple as just because you make the left turn. It's about that he got turned that way, you're saying, because he's avoiding the tag.
He's avoiding the tag, and he ends up on essentially in a straight line, avoiding that tag, which it definitely looks like he does. I think that's a good call.
I'm with you.
All right, let's go.
I hope we do something with that 45-foot lane in both the college and the pro level at some juncture, because that's the worst thing ever. that you have to run in the lane.
I don't know if I ever ran in that lane.
Yeah.
When I was running straight through the bag, it was just, let me get there as fast as I can. I felt like I was more often than not in the field of play and on the grass.
Schwartz reaching on an error by Towns. He's 2 for 4 today. And a ball and no strikes on the first baseman, Peter Alonso. Look out.
2 for 4 now. 27 for 54 in the NCAA tournament.
Well, the thing with Schwartz, he was the MVP of the SEC tournament, the regional, and the super region. But otherwise, he hasn't played very well in the postseason. That's amazing.
If only he had more experience.
Well played. Trying to pick up a championship to match Sis, who's won back-to-back titles with the Gator softball team. Alonso 0 for 2 with a walk. Yeah, Taylor, the last out against Michigan, ended up in her glove as she stepped on first, and that was that. It was neat when Kaylee spoke with her the other night that she really underlined how the success for both of them, she was so cognizant of how proud it makes their dad.
Yeah. It was a neat interview. It was a nice look into their family dynamic.
Dad Jeff, who pitched in the majors, works in the Marlins organization.
Hey, right on the back of the elbow.
Well, let's take a look at those 2 swings. Taylor on the right, and of course JJ on the left, and Taylor working that ball the other way, letting it get a little bit deeper. JJ getting that head out, and that good power. But both outstanding players for 2 really good teams.
Alonso chases after that one. And so one away, Schwartz stays put at second. Let's go down to Kaylee.
Well, guys, Kevin O'Sullivan has told us that J.J. Schwartz, as a freshman, nothing wowed him. I asked Taylor why she thought that was, and she said, you know, J.J.'s always been a quiet kid. You always feel like he's just taking in everything around him. She said, I think that's got to be part of the reason for his maturity and the calm demeanor that you see for him as a freshman.
Man, 18 homers and 73 ribs coming into today is wowing me. Pinero, but he definitely, to Kaylee's point, he definitely gives off a really even demeanor.
Yeah, and as far as taking things in, the thing I've noticed when watching him hit is the adjustments he can make within the at-bat. And when he sees a pitch, maybe early in the count, that maybe he takes or maybe takes a bad swing at, I feel like later in that count, even a couple times with 2 strikes, he'll come back and hammer that pitch and make it really good in at-bat adjustments.
2 down now, and Mike Rivera. 9-4, Florida leads. Gators need a win in order to survive. Ripped towards left center field, and that one's going to find space and roll towards the fence. One freshman knocking in another as they trade places, and the Gators have their 10 runs. It's 10-4.
Well, Rivera, who had a really good at bat in his last at bat, getting deep in the count before singling into the right center gap, this time gets a breaking ball kind of down and in, and he stings this ball into the alley. Nice short compact swing there, and he sticks it in the gap, and another double-digit performance now for the Florida Gators.
How about that? Since they opened the stadium the 4 years prior, the College World Series, the team had scored 10 or more 3 times. Gators have done it 4 times.
I got one here.
Or 3 times, I beg your pardon, in this College World Series. So they've matched it on their own. Miami twice, and now Virginia. Well, Rivera's had himself a good day, a couple of hits. Both of them have knocked in runs. And then this guy, 5 out of 11 in the CWS. He scored twice today.
Yep, they had a couple pretty good plays defensively out at second.
Third. And Towns able to handle it. But the Gators get a run back. We're headed to the 8th. 10-4 Florida. Back in Omaha as we go to the 8th, the NCAA College World Series presented by Capital One. John Sciambi, Aaron Boone, and Kaylee Hartung. Florida leading 10-4 as we head to the 8th. Still to come tonight at 8 Eastern. It's TCU and Vanderbilt. TCU in an elimination game. Vandy with a win. They'll punch their ticket for the championship series. That was Virginia's opportunity here today, but it looks like these two teams are going to have to play again tomorrow. There's Robbie Coleman. Chopped off the plate. And that one thrown away. Pointer throws it into foul ground, and we'll see what, hit and an error maybe?
Maybe it was going to be a difficult play just as much as it was chopped. Coleman not a fast runner by any means, but hustling down the line, and just a little bit of a rush throw, and I would think hit and an error. We'll see how they're
going to go E1. So not feeling especially generous today?
Nope. The way the ball popped up and then kind of deadened on the grass there, it was going to be a very difficult play.
Here's Joe McCarthy. And Pointer drops in a strike. McCarthy 0 for 3. Logan Shore started in this one. Ended up being charged with those runs in the 7th, but still overall gave them exactly what they needed here today.
And, you know, you had asked the question about when could you possibly bring him back. At the end, you didn't overtax him. I mean, less than 90 pitches on the afternoon, so it wasn't an outing where you know, we're in a pitcher's duel where he's going 110, 115 pitches or anything like that. So should be more than fresh coming back should the Florida Gators get to the championship series starting Monday.
Foul ball. Yeah, 88 pitches is what they got him up to. And I thought you made a good point that when I asked the question, I mean, you're basically at a spot where whether he's throwing 110 or 88, not going to change that they're not going to bring him back on Tuesday.
Correct.
That is a good pitch.
And Martin throws out McCarthy as Coleman will get down to third.
I love some of the banter now going on. You got Mike Rivera yelling out good pitch as the ball comes off the bat, and home plate umpire Perry Costello echoing as he's moving and running down towards first base. That is a good pitch. The rapport sometimes that can develop between the catchers and the home plate umpires. Good stuff.
No doubt. Here's Doherty, a walk, a fielder's choice, and a single, plus a run scored. All Florida here on top 10-4. Late there, got a piece though. So obviously still time left, outs left for Virginia, but going forward, you know, the matchup on the mound is what we'll focus on. But any advantage in an elimination scenario for these two teams?
Look, I think at this point, you know, both these teams have been through so much, are battle tested. So no, I mean, look, Virginia was able to shut Florida down, something no team has been able to do. Do they come back with Brandon Waddell in tomorrow's game potentially? And Florida is certainly feeling and playing with a whole bunch of confidence and showing Virginia that, hey, we can get to you guys as well. But Virginia, I mean, this is a team that's been through so much this year. From an emotional standpoint, I think it'll be simple for them to be able to bounce back. Now, can they match up with Florida again tomorrow? We'll see.
That smoked pretty good to center field. Reed back some more and makes the grab. And tagging and in to score is Coleman. It's a 10-5 game. Let's go downstairs to Kaylee Hartung.
Well, guys, aside from the heat the Florida bats are bringing, you can attribute some of their confidence in this scenario to the fact that they've been in this position before with their backs against the wall. Go back to the SEC tournament. They lost their opening game against Arkansas. They then won 4 straight elimination games. So they beat Auburn, then Arkansas, LSU, and Vanderbilt to win the SEC championship. They understand what it feels like to be in this position. It doesn't scare them.
Out to short, Martin handles it as Virginia gets a run back, and we'll head to the bottom of the 8th. 10-5.
The NCAA College World Series is presented by Quicksilver from Capital One. Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back every purchase every day. And in part by T-Mobile. Switch to the Data Strong Network.
Come on, let's get some intensity going to the cowbell. Either do it or don't do it. We go to the bottom of the 8th, and Florida leads 10-5. Tommy Doyle, the freshman from Vienna, Virginia. Nats drafted him last year in his 16th appearance.
Yeah, it's 6 feet 6 inches tall, fastball, overhand curveball. Pretty good ERA. For the walks were a bit of an issue at times this year, commanding the strike zone. 18 walks in just over 22 innings. But a guy that has a pretty bright future potentially in this Virginia program. It's a good arm.
The band is getting it done today. Yeah, a little Sweet Caroline.
For Virginia, number 16, Tommy Doyle.
Is that when the Sox do it? Did they do it? Was that in the 8th?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. John Sciambi, Aaron Boone, Kaylee Hartung. As Ryan Larson makes his way to the plate. Larson getting the start in right field. A single, a fly out, and he's wrapped into a fielder's choice. He scored twice.
You know, and he had one of those key hits back in the 3rd inning after getting behind 1 and 2 in the count. Spoiled a bunch of pitches, eventually got that hit to right field, and that kind of seemed like it really got the ball rolling for Florida as they would plate 4 in that 3rd inning and then just continue to add on all afternoon.
It'll be Larson, then Bader, then Martin.
See if he plays it.
Well, Nathan Kirby today marked the return for the lefty. He hadn't pitched in 9 weeks. Ends up going 2 2/3. They're giving up 4 runs. Kirby, a first-round pick by the Brewers, was out with a lat strain. And again, I mean, Brian O'Connor, when we talked to him before the College World Series opened, he said he's been thrown on the side, been thrown off the mound. It hasn't been ultra crisp, but they needed to get him back in there. Towns handles the play. Now, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball features one of baseball's oldest rivalries. The Dodgers, the Giants, they'll go head-to-head, and that'll be at 8 Eastern. And our countdown show at 7 Eastern, presented by Chevrolet. Who's winning the West?
Doyers.
Okay.
What do you got?
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I know you like the Padres in spring training.
I did.
Ball one.
It's that type of chemistry that we have, that, you know, those moments of back and forth that I think just, it electrifies the audience. One out, bases clear.
All 3.
All right, so who starts tomorrow for both these teams?
I think Virginia probably comes back with Connor Jones, and I think we may see A.J. Puck, who pitched pretty well in a loss to Virginia, but you know, it would certainly be tempting for Virginia to bring back Brandon Waddell, who essentially dominated this hot offense for Florida, but Connor Jones has been so good all year and has really been their #1. Pitched good in the opener. So I think it would make sense that they would come back with their ace essentially, and then, you know, if they were to advance, they'd have a Waddell in a Game 1 scenario.
We've seen Shore now twice here in Omaha, and he's pitched really well. Faedo the other night was solid against Miami. And Puck, I mean, talent-wise, as good as any of them. And again, Puck got that start against UVA. So we shall see. Right now, it's headed for a rematch tomorrow. Yeah, she does not care who's pitching tomorrow. It is all about that cotton candy. I hear you. You want to know one of the things that I like is here in Omaha, cotton candy on a stick. You go to these places now and it's cotton candy in a bag. I do not endorse that. I think cotton candy needs to be on a stick. Just saying. Yep.
With cotton candy and settle in for a little nap.
Sure. Hang with mom. 2 down, bases clear. Martin in this one, 2 out of 3. And that's a fair ball just inside the bag. And Martin's going to have his second double of the afternoon.
Well, a couple of good sliders that actually Martin swung through one, took one, and they wanted to go fastball away, but he missed on the inside corner and actually gets in on Martin a little bit, but strong enough to get it down that line just inside the third base line. And as soon as that ball was ruled fair, I lifted up my eyes to watch Richie Martin run, excuse me. Richie Martin. Been very impressed with him, not only how he moves around defensively and how he swung the bat, especially working the ball the other way, but getting to see him, how explosive he is running as well. No surprise he was a first-round pick.
You are living La Vida Loca. Brian O'Connor going down there to talk with Jeff Hendricks, just to double check, see if maybe he wanted to change his call. So 2 away, then Tobias. Line to short his last time. Been hit by a pitch, knocked in a run with a single and scored. And he's also popped out. Gators showing off the offensive attack here in this one. No homers here today, but 10 runs on 11 hits.
Juno.
Close play, but safe is Martin out there. Martin with 3 hits in this one. And it is all Gators. They're up 10-5. Been a good College World Series for Richie. Tommy Doyle on here. Nathan Kirby started. Gave it over to Bettinger, then Rosenberger. And this place will be jam-packed for Vandy and TCU here tonight. Well, the Gators as long as they finish this off, they'll be a win away from a trip to the CWS Finals. Made the championship series in 2011, the inaugural year here at TD Ameritrade. And still to come, those guys and Vandy. Yep. 3-2 now with 2 outs, and Martin at second. Smith over there, and Doyle gets there in time. Top of the order for Virginia, and the last chance for the Cavaliers. Back here at the College World Series. Yeah, look at the old market. Did a little dinner downtown last night as we head to the 9th, and from TD Ameritrade, Florida leading Virginia 10-5. How about we take a look at our Capital One Cup impact performance? And, I'd say the Florida offense has been impacting things.
Yeah, the one team able to shut the Gators down in this NCAA tournament was Brandon Waddell in Virginia in Game 2 of the College World Series, but not today. The Gators fell behind 1-0, a 4 spot in the 3rd, and they've continued to tack on. And Richie Martin there, the first-round shortstop, been right in the middle of all of it. This Gator offense up and down, quality at bats, impact players all over, and they are playing at a very high level and sending a message this afternoon against Virginia.
What'd you think of Logan Shore?
I thought he was really impressive. Wasn't dominant by any means, but a guy that commands both sides of the plate with his fastball. The changeup was really good. He threw strikes with his secondary pitches, and I think he gave you everything you could have hoped if you were Florida. Was, for the most part, in complete command of this ball game.
Gators, 9 NCAA tournament games. They have scored 88 runs.
Not quite.
Buddy, I know you haven't won any math awards lately, but 88 runs, that's just a shade under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no surprise they're still playing.
Hazley gets rung up. Now this is ESPN's coverage of the NCAA College World Series, and it is presented by Capital One. Here in Omaha, the 2015 CWS, John Sciambi, Aaron Boone, and Kaylee Hartung. As the Gators 2 outs away from forcing an elimination game tomorrow with these Cavaliers. Still to come tonight, TCU and Vanderbilt. Carl Ravitch, Kyle Peterson, Jessica Mendoza with the call. Up the middle, and Pinheiro with the hit.
Well, Pinheiro continues the hot hitting we've seen throughout this College World Series. Another hard ball hit back through the middle for Daniel Pinheiro. 2 more hits this afternoon, and that average remains up over 500 in the College World Series.
Theis with a sac fly his last time up. Last loss, by the way, for Virginia. I mean, it's just about a month. You got to go back to May 23rd against NC State in the ACC tournament.
Remarkable. I mean, when you consider where this team was a month ago and how much they were struggling to kind of right the ship, they fell behind in some of their regional and super regional games too, but have battled back and found a way. So it won't be at all surprising to see this team turn the page tomorrow should they go on to lose this game and come out ready to play. Battle-tested Virginia team. They'll be ready to go tomorrow.
Two one down. Foul ground, Tobias Martin over there. And
we've seen Tobias go head first into first on his last at bat to end the inning. Now he's jumping up on the tarp. I think Coach O'Sullivan's probably going, oh, settle down, we need you. This is the play you were talking about earlier, Boog, earlier in the College World Series. Kind of a charging in between hop. There's no panic. Gets over to it quickly, picks things up with the bare hand, throws on strongly, and then today we've seen him to his right lay out and handle a short hop, and there a bullet off the bat where he was playing in to the forehand side, handle that flawlessly.
Martin there, and it'll squeeze that. And Virginia down to its final out. And here's the senior. Towns, a two-run double his last time. Ripped to center. Reed right there. Ball game. And they'll do it again. Same two teams tomorrow. An elimination game tomorrow as Florida picks up the win. The Gators keep their season alive. Logan Shore solid on the mound. And that Gator offense. 10 more runs. Chomp, chomp. And Florida beats up UVA.
Yeah, Florida continues their hot hitting and finally solves the riddle that was Virginia's. They hand Virginia its first loss in this NCAA tournament, but tomorrow will be a much tougher matchup as they'll have to face likely one of Virginia's best pitchers going up in tomorrow afternoon's game.
So we'll wait to see what time the game is tomorrow. That depends on whether Vanderbilt and TCU need another game. But first things first, tonight, Vandy TCU at 8 Eastern. A TCU win means they will play tomorrow. A Vandy win means they have a ticket punched for the championship series. 10-5 the final score. Florida wins it over Virginia. Again, TCU Vanderbilt tonight at 8 Eastern. For Aaron Boone, Kaylee Hartong, and our entire crew, I'm John Sciambi saying so long from Omaha. The Gators, Kevin O'Sullivan's team, stays alive. They pick up the win. Time now to turn it over to Pardon the Interruption.